Welcome to the Ramayan, Stories of Dharm and Devotion. I'm Sandeep, and in this podcast, we'll journey together through the timeless epic of Valmiki's Ramayan, filled with stories of honor, sacrifice, devotion, and righteousness. Although it's rooted in Indian culture, the Ramayan offers universal lessons that resonate globally. The epic addresses themes such as the triumph of good over evil, loyalty, the struggles of the righteous, family duties, and the power of compassion. These values transcend cultural and religious boundaries, making the Ramayana relevant to everyone globally. In today's episode, we will continue our journey through Bala Kanda, as sage Vishwamitra leads Ram and Lakshman to the grand city of Mithila, ruled by King Janak, one of the most revered rulers of his time. We will learn about the city of Mithila, its wise ruler King Janak, and his background, including how Sita came into his life. This episode will give us insights into the life of King Janak, his relationship with King Dashrath, and how destiny was preparing for the most significant encounter of Ram's life.
After Ram had redeemed Ahalya from her grievous curse, sage Vishwamitra continued the journey with Ram and Lakshman towards Mithila. The purpose of their journey was not only to protect the sages and restore peace to the forests, but also to introduce Ram to the destiny that awaited him. The path led them through dense forests, green meadows, and villages that thrived in harmony. As they approached Mithila, Vishwamitra began to tell Ram and Lakshman about King Janak, the ruler of Mithila. Vishwamitra explained, "O Ram, King Janak is a renowned ruler known for his wisdom, humility, and dedication to Dharm. He is not just a powerful king, but also a sage of great knowledge, often considered a Rajarshi, a king who is also a rishi. Under his rule, Mithila has flourished as a center of culture, knowledge, and prosperity." Ram and Lakshman listened intently as Vishwamitra spoke. They knew that this journey to Mithila was crucial, but they were yet to understand its full significance. As they drew closer, Ram and Lakshman were greeted by the sight of the magnificent city of Mithila. The city was surrounded by lush green fields, fertile with crops, and dotted with beautiful gardens that were in full bloom. The people of Mithila lived in prosperity, and their happiness was evident in their faces as they went about their daily lives. The roads were bustling with activity, with merchants selling goods, children playing, and the air filled with the sounds of laughter and music. The city itself was a marvel of architecture, adorned with grand palaces and temples dedicated to different deities. Mithila had always been a city known for its devotion and love for knowledge, and King Janak had nurtured this spirit with his just and wise rule. The people revered Janak not only as their king, but as a father figure who cared deeply for their welfare. As they entered the city, Ram and Lakshman were amazed by the sense of harmony and prosperity that pervaded Mithila. It was clear to them that this was not just because of wealth, but also due to the righteous governance of King Janak. They were led by Vishwamitra through the bustling streets, receiving warm smiles and curious glances from the people, who sensed that these visitors were no ordinary travelers. Vishwamitra shared with Ram and Lakshman the story of King Janak, how he came to be one of the most revered rulers of his time, and the remarkable tale of how he found Sita. King Janak belonged to the Videha dynasty, a lineage known for its wisdom and righteousness. He had inherited his kingdom from his forefathers, and through his dedication and devotion to Dharm, he had elevated Mithila to new heights of prosperity and culture. Despite his wisdom and the prosperity of his kingdom, there was a void in Janak's life. He had no children. Though he was content with his duties as a king, he longed for a child who could inherit his legacy and continue his work. His longing for a child was not just for personal joy, but also out of a sense of duty to ensure the continuity of his lineage. King Janak was an extraordinary ruler who lived by the principle of equality. He chose to live a life similar to that of his people, working alongside them in the fields, participating in daily chores, and understanding their needs firsthand. Janak believed that true leadership required empathy and that a ruler should live in a way that allowed him to understand his subjects. He often murmured the names of gods while ploughing the fields, showing his devotion and emphasizing that even during daily chores, one could attain spiritual progress and salvation. This dedication to his people and his humility made him a beloved and respected figure in Mithila. One day, while King Janak was ploughing a field as usual, his wish to have children was fulfilled. In the sacred furrow of the earth, he discovered something extraordinary. From the furrow, he found a beautiful infant girl, lying peacefully and radiating an aura of divine beauty. The moment Janak laid eyes on the child, he felt a deep connection to her. He took her in his arms and declared, "This child is a divine gift, born from the very earth, and I shall raise her as my daughter." He named her Sita, meaning furrow, as she was found in the sacred furrow of the earth. From that day on, Sita became the heart of Mithila and the apple of Janak's eye. She grew up surrounded by love, affection, and the teachings of Dharm. She was not only beautiful, but also wise, compassionate, and strong, reflecting the very essence of Mithila. Janak ensured that she received the best education, and she grew up to be admired by all for her grace and virtues. Vishwamitra also told Ram and Lakshman about the friendship between King Janak and their father, King Dashrath of Ayodhya. The two kings shared a bond of mutual respect and admiration, both being rulers who upheld Dharm above all else. They had met during several royal ceremonies and had developed a deep friendship based on their shared values of righteousness and devotion. King Janak had often spoken of his respect for Dashrath's ability to rule Ayodhya with fairness and wisdom, while Dashrath had admired Janak's dedication to knowledge and spirituality. The two kingdoms of Ayodhya and Mithila had always shared friendly relations, and the people of both regions held the other in high regard. Upon reaching the palace, Vishwamitra led Ram and Lakshman to the court of King Janak. The palace was grand, reflecting the prosperity of Mithila, and the court was filled with nobles, scholars, and ministers, each of them a reflection of the culture that King Janak had cultivated. The atmosphere in the court was one of respect and dignity, and the people gathered there were engaged in discussions about philosophy, governance, and the upcoming Swayamvar of Sita. As Vishwamitra entered, a wave of excitement passed through the court. The sage was well known across the kingdom, and his presence was a great honor for everyone. King Janak rose from his throne to greet the sage, his eyes filled with warmth and respect. He stepped forward and bowed to Vishwamitra, saying, "O revered sage, your presence graces Mithila. I am honored to have you here." Vishwamitra returned the greeting with a kind smile and said, "O King Janak, it is my pleasure to visit Mithila, a city that is the very embodiment of prosperity and righteousness. I bring with me two noble princes, Ram and Lakshman, the sons of King Dashrath of Ayodhya." King Janak looked at Ram and Lakshman with admiration. He could see their grace and strength and felt a deep respect for them. He welcomed them warmly, saying, "Welcome, O noble princes of Ayodhya. Your presence honors us, and I am delighted that you have come to Mithila. Please consider this city your own, and let us know if there is anything we may do to make your stay more comfortable." Ram and Lakshman bowed respectfully before King Janak and expressed their gratitude for his hospitality. They were humbled by the warmth of their reception and were in awe of the grandeur of the court and the wisdom that radiated from King Janak. King Janak then spoke of the upcoming Swayamvar for Princess Sita. The Swayamvar was an important event where the greatest warriors and princes from across the land were invited to try and lift the divine bow of Lord Shiv, a challenge that would determine who was worthy of marrying Sita.
Vishwamitra listened patiently and shared that he had brought Ram and Lakshman to Mithila, knowing that this event would be significant in shaping Ram's destiny. However, the time for Ram to see the divine bow would come in due course. King Janak, delighted to have the young princes present, ensured they were given the best accommodation in the palace. In our next episode, we will witness the beginning of the grand Swayamvar of Princess Sita. We will see how King Janak presents the divine bow of Lord Shiv and challenges the assembled princes to lift it. Will Ram be able to lift the bow and fulfill his destiny? Join us as we explore this beautiful chapter of Bala Kanda, where love, courage, and destiny come together in a divine moment. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please share the podcast with friends and family so that we can spread the glorious life of Ram and how Dharm guides us at all phases of our life. While we may not know exactly what happened, this eternal story of the Ramayana serves as a guide for how we conduct ourselves in our day-to-day lives. We have tried to create a story as close as possible to the ancient texts, scriptures, and writings of Valmiki's Ramayan. Until then, may the light of Dharm guide your path.